Hey, welcome back to a second chance. My name is Philip Jones.
And I'm Tafaro Cook, two-time kidney transplant recipient and founder of Kidney Care Coaches, where we coach stage 3 to stage 5 kidney disease clients. Go back to you, Phil.
Appreciate that, Mr. Cook. So today we have a very, very awesome story for you. Two stories actually that are combined to one. Today we have Lily and Bob Schultz that will give their story with Lily being a living liver donor and Bob looking for one. So Lily and Bob, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourselves.
My name is Lily, and back in May of this year, I donated my liver altruistically, and have since just been recovering.
My name is Bob, and for the last year and a half, it's been known to me that my liver, I've been diagnosed as stage 4 cirrhosis. Prior to that, my story it's a long story. It's what got Lily involved in this. I'm 29 years of recovery from all mood and mind altering chemicals, including the one that people don't talk a lot about, alcohol. In those early years of my using, somewhere along the line, I picked up hepatitis C. Unknown to me until 99. I went in to donate plasma, and they said, "Hey, you can't do that. Hepatitis C." Doctored it for how many years that was until just 4 years ago. All that long period of time, the doctors kept telling me that it wasn't bad and we'll just keep an eye on it. Well, then I got a new doctor, and she said, let's just take some panel numbers, and it had skyrocketed over. They've got all kinds of new drugs out there now for hepatitis C. My mind just went blank. I took the one, and it cured the Hep C. In the meantime, it did more damage to my liver. I first quit drinking alcohol in '85 in a treatment center, and they told me then that I had damaged my liver from the drinking and drugs that I had done then. And so the process of it starting way back then through the process of the Hep C, the combination, I don't know. I guess God knows. Took out my liver to the point of stage 4 cirrhosis. When it first was diagnosed, your world is kind of crushed because you do the stupid thing and you get online and play doctor and see that most stage 4s are life-threatening and a short term. Well, with a lot of studying and a good doctor system here, and my wife knows how to answer all the questions or ask all the questions. We've learned that you can live a while with stage 4. It's all based on your MELD score. And my MELD score is low. I average right around 10, where significantly bad or the worst end of it is up in the high 20s, 30s. Got on with the doctors and learned that Wisconsin is one of a few of the states, I'm not sure how many that do, that allow living donor transplant. So we had to get it accepted. There's two, I think it's Frederick in Milwaukee, and it's the UW in Madison. We had a previous friend of ours went through UW, and that was the route my wife and I thought would be the best for us. We got a hold of a couple doctors at UW, went through the testing and everything, and they did put me on the list. Like I said, my MELD score is low, and for most, I don't know for sure, but for a lot of the Hep C stage 4 cirrhosis liver, if your MELD score is low and you don't have any bad symptoms, your life is continued on as it been. I suffer, and what was one of the main factors for where I'm at, my liver isn't taking out the ammonia in my blood, and it collects in my brain, and it's called, do you remember?
Hepatic encephalopathy.
Yes. And I just say HE for short. And that's where I get my good days and my bad days. There's medication, and it works. The main one is called lactulose or lactulose. And what I call it is my Roto-Rooter. See, I got to drink it. It's a shot glass full. In the morning, it goes through the system, collects the ammonia, and I stay very close to the bathroom because it takes the ammonia out of the body that way instead of the liver processing it. When I'm having bad days, most days will double. I'll take another dose later during the day. And I'm pretty much, I don't want to say, I don't do any, I sit at home and
Down for the count.
I can't do anything really because my mind, I have a lot of people to ask and say, oh, what's it like? And my easiest way I can, and for most people to understand, it's like having your worst hangover to where, and it don't go away. You know, your brain's foggy, you get head lighted, sometimes it's sight. I get, my wife can tell you, even my kid, I get very irritable, cranky. Sometimes I say things I shouldn't say, mean, and I don't like it. So with that, I've learned that my life today is good days and bad days, and because of the HE. So this has led up for a while, right? And before I knew about the cirrhosis, and I used to love, and I would drive anywhere, anytime. That was my thing. And I had noticed a couple of times I would be driving and where am I going? What am I doing? And I had to, for instance, we live in Oshkosh, and I had a funeral to go to in Wisconsin Rapids. Now, I've traveled these roads hundreds of times, back and forth. It's about a 2-hour drive. And I was driving home, and I couldn't remember if I had to turn or if I kept going straight. And I pulled over, and I sat there for a while, and I'm like, I got mad. And I'm like, what is going on? I didn't know. I blew it off. Later to come, I was talking with my doctor, and I was explaining to her some of the symptoms, and she said, well, how many times does that happen? And I don't know, 4, 5 maybe. So looked at me and said, well, you're not working anymore, and I recommend you don't drive. So just like that appointment went from a checkup on my cirrhosis status to my whole world being yanked out from underneath me. I was that I still am for a long time. I do on when I'm having a really good. So that all last year, I don't think I went out of the house. You had that COVID shit going on too, but beyond that, I because I couldn't drive, we didn't go anywhere. I didn't go anywhere, and I have 3 children. My oldest son, he doesn't drive. He's got some issues he's working on. But I have a younger son that's 19, and I have my daughter that's 24, and then my wife. And I had to become fully dependent on them for a long time because I didn't know how long a good day was going to last.
Right.
I knew when I would, most of the time it was when I woke up, I'm having a bad day and the fog isn't good. But there's days when I think I'm having a good day and then it just falls short and I end up, taking my extra lactulose. And so with that knowledge, I couldn't be that person, driving a vehicle and then having one of those. So I didn't drive. I have a Harley, and I didn't drive last year, all year. And then I started getting more angry. I get angry. I've got the disease of addiction. Okay, I'm an addict. All right, that's on my plate, and it's been on my plate for 29 years, and I've learned to live life with that disease. Well, wham! I get hit with another one. I got Hep C. All right, what do I do? All right, take this medicine. I can get rid of it, hopefully. All right, I deal with it. Wham! I get hit with another. Oh, I got cirrhosis of the liver. Come on. That's where my anger lies. And then the bad days, I'm like, but then I started to realize my good days. And I was sitting at home with my wife, and I'm like, I can't waste my good days. When I'm having a good day, I got to do something. And for a long time, I was able to walk the dogs. If it was going to be a really good day, I take the motorcycle to the park in town and just come back, in the city.
Right.
And then, so I learned to accept and focus more on my good days
Mm.
and use them, because it's misery hell living in those bad days and just sitting around waiting for a good day. Where now I've turned that around, and this week I'm in it's Wisconsin's deer hunting season, and it's a tradition in our family forever. It's hard to understand unless you're in it, right? The tradition of deer camp. It's like no other. It's something, like I said, we've lived. I haven't had a Thanksgiving dinner with my wife yet, and we've been married 26 years. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 20, and that's just the way it is. She's not a hunter. She doesn't do the deer camp. She stays at home. We have Thanksgiving and everything right here at camp. So what I'm saying, what I'm leading up is the kids, Dad, you got to go deer hunting. And I'm like, so my youngest son and my daughter, they make sure that I get to deer camp. It's only been the 2 days now, and the weather was too nasty for me, so we didn't go out. But I have a week of hopefully getting a couple of good days in, and I can. Serenity to me is I can sit in those woods and listen to the crows and I don't need to see a deer. If I deer, it's like the old cliche, icing on the cake. And I've done that for now since I was 12. Kind of off subject, but just last year I was able to harvest a buck, and I got Lily sitting next to me the next day, and she was able to. I mean, and to do that and to see that, it's priceless. So now the disease, the cirrhosis. I am so grateful that that you're doing this broadcast, because I think a lot of the liver transplant isn't heard of as much as a kidney transplant.
Right.
They're both. I mean, kidney transplant, the dialysis, yada yada. They're both bad, severe, but I don't think enough recognition goes to the liver side. Like with my daughter, the donating half of your liver, and the ability to do that is just phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it came from. That's where I'm at. And until we do find a match for a living donor, if it's in, I've come down to, my wife and I have this, we live by, let it God flow and let the process happen. We don't have the answer. Is it going to happen? I don't know. When we first were dying, oh yeah, you get a living donor, and we were so excited, and the whole excitement of, Lily just busting the back trying to be, and then the huge um, disappointment I saw in her when she wasn't able to. Um, it's a hurt that hurts deep when that. But I've had a lot of friends and family try to donate. Now, the way the system is set up is we don't know. My friend is trying, or this person is trying. They keep it separate with the system at the hospital. They don't want no influences. They don't want somebody. I'll give you 10 grand. Go give me half your liver. Um, whatever. Or some kind of So it's all done by the love of giving. I don't know any other way of stating it. And I've had countless of friends, and we find out by somebody's trying because my insurance pays for it all. And when somebody tries, they go through a series, phone calls, next step, tests. Once they start getting those tests, and then there's a good bill to my insurance. And we'll see, the insurance has been billed for. It must have been another try. So we've noticed a few try. And then I've had a few friends come back and say, Bob, I really wanted, I tried, I found out I'm either the wrong size or there's something that they didn't know they had. Them that they have to correct to be healthy. As much of the UW system, UWO, or not UW Madison, it's just phenomenal at their process of making sure everything is healthy, fit, size. So gratitude. I find in my heart, when you have somebody, hey, I tried, Bob, and there's nothing I can say. There's nothing I can say to fill that appreciation that somebody would even think of. I'm going to cut myself open to help save your life. That's beyond crazy. And for every one of them, I just hope, pray that something good comes back to them. So my MELD score is still averaging around 10. I'm not the sickest of the sick. I have my good days I focus on. I have my wife. My wife is so I lost my job, right? I'm like, all right, I can't work, and I've worked 2 jobs for the last 35 years. The last stint I had was with this company for 17 years, and that was set. My life was set. I didn't have income worries. It was stable. I didn't have layoff worries. I had worked myself into a position of working in a quality control lab. Me, running tests but what I said earlier, my life got taken away from me in that one office visit with my doctor. You can't work anymore. And all right, I've got long-term disability. I can run my disability on my insurance. That only lasts, I think it was 6 months. All right, I've been paying all my life long-term disability. I got that. I got this. Long-term disability doesn't cover insurance. It covers a percentage of nothing of your wages. And I'm like, stupid on my part, yeah, because I never investigated that. I just assumed. So we were blindsided. And to stay on the list, you have to be insured. They ain't taken to get it from without insurance is a whole nother that I don't know how that works. So long story short, it's a long story, but my wife, she can advocate, and she can advocate for people and she did. Worked it out, kept me covered on an insurance. It cost me a little bit more, but most of my phone calls, like from my doctors and stuff, I have them just call my wife because my mind doesn't stay, and I get foggy and my words get locked up. And so living with hepatitis C or cirrhosis of the liver is a journey that I'm on. And like I said, I get angry. But I work this program to the best of my ability, and it gives me tools to use and apply to my life. That's what's got me to where I'm in today. The why me, go out back and go drown it and drown my sorrows in a beer. I don't got that. I that would just kill me. And I've got a lot to live for. Besides myself, my family, and with the process of a living donor, or I wait till I'm the sickest of the sick. That's living with cirrhosis stage 4 for me. I got a group on Facebook I follow, and I hear other stories and people going through, and a lot of it I can relate to. A lot of it I hope don't happen to me, but I'm not alone. Just like in my recovery of my addiction, I'm not alone. My cirrhosis, I'm not alone, and there's people worse. So my daughter, couldn't donate to me. size. It's all it did is came down to size.
All right.
I'm a lot bigger, and it's science 101, right? You take something that's this size and you try and make it. It's not going to work.
All right.
But to see what she went through, phew, it's amazing. And after I saw that, and then her recovery from it, you know, I was with my wife and like, man, how do I even think of asking or for having the out there to somebody do that for me? You know, when you see the pain that, you know, but then it came to me a couple of times when I had talked with Lily, you know, I got hit in the back of the head and I remembered she'd do it all over again just to make somebody's life better. And if somebody is truly doing it for that reason, who am I to say no? You know, who am I to say or not be grateful or say I wouldn't the people of I feel today, if we could just that kind of love is crazy. And if the world, if the city, if the block of people could just come together and feel part of that, man, what a world we'd live in. You know, kidneys, people shouldn't be suffering. For something that can be fixed with just love. We have the technology today, right? We have doctors that are crazy with the ability to do that. And yet we have people fall away and not be. I don't mean to preach, but the world would be a better place. And I and my family, we that's what we believe. And this program, I can't thank you guys enough just to open this door. And for broadcast, I didn't know what broadcast. I'm old. I know broadcast. What the heck's a broadcast? You know, it's just talking over the internet and thousands of people can hear me. My story. That's my story. I got a lot of. I share whenever asked about my addiction. Get the people the help they need to stop doing what they're doing. And if my story of living with cirrhosis can brighten one person's day or say, hey, you know, I'm not alone. I'm just like him. And I'll be grateful and thank you.
We appreciate you coming on and telling that story, the both of you, because you know, like I said before, many people have seen Lily's interview that she did on our show, and you know, when she mentioned, you know, you still needing a liver, it was kind of a hands down situation for the both of us, and we were like, okay, we gotta, you know, bring him on here because our goal is not just the stories, multiple connections to this show. And the other one is to be advocates for people like you that are looking for living donors to be able to assist in that part of the transplant community and transplant life. Myself and Mr. Cook, we've both been through the transplant side to it. Like I said, I'm waiting on a kidney, so we understand how hard it is to look for a living donor or wait for a donor to pop up, while we're on the list. And so that's something that I'm trying to help people with, even if it's not even about myself. It's not about Mr. Cook. It's about helping. It's about saving lives, improving people's lives, and things of that nature. So, but before we get into all our questions, I know Mr. Cook probably gave 3 papers worth of notes, and he's gonna ask you about 15 questions in 10 minutes. But so before we get to, I'm gonna go to the commercial, just kind of get ourselves together, and then we'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to a second chance. Mr. Cook, go ahead, sir.
Dang, what's wild is I thought I was so encaptured by Lily's story, and then I hear Pop's story, Mr. Bob, and I'm blown away twice. Man, that's remarkable, And then what I really like about your story is the tradition. I have some friends that go deer hunting. I like fishing, and I call it I like fishing, not catching. Okay, I don't care. I can sit out there all day and just
Yeah.
might not catch nothing, but I just like the fact of fishing. I'm not good at catching, but I do like fishing. So I understand where you're coming from, where you like sitting out there and just the peace of it all and everything. That's a wonderful feeling. But the first question I have for you is: you found out about the Hep C, and you said that was in '99. That's how you found out, and how did you find out about it?
I went to go donate plasma.
Okay, that's right. Okay, I remember you said that.
Yeah, my wife and I, money was on a little tighter side, and go donate plasma and make a couple $10, $20, whatever it was, and they took my blood and they said you need to have your doctors. They didn't. I don't. I don't remember if they actually told me, but I know I had to go to the doctor, and doctor ran blood tests and said, yeah, you're. And it was scary because Lily was just a couple years old, and we had to test. I had to test my wife, had to test Lily, and to live with the thought that I might have just passed that to them, that was not good.
Right.
So thank God it never crossed. Never crossed to my wife. Never crossed to Lily, and it never crossed to my other son.
Yeah, that's really good. Let me ask you, what was the first signs of your liver failure? What do you remember, like the very first signs of how you felt at the time?
No, see, it started with the um, fighting the Hep C,
Okay.
um, and once that was cured, uh, exclusive, the name of that medicine. Once that was done, my hepatologist doctor ran some tests just to verify and hey, you have stage 4.
Mm, right.
Um, it wasn't stage 4 in the beginning. This is where I need my wife to follow that track. But that's where it was introduced, and then they watched it, and it was stage 4. You know, the symptoms, the fatigue. Uh, I'm not a big man, physical, fit, yada yada, but I could hold my. I was working 12-hour shifts, 55 hours some a week, and it was getting to the point where things weren't as easy. I'm just thinking I'm getting fat and lazy, and I maybe need to go work. But that was the doctor said no. That's this cirrhosis, um, and lately the fatigue. I said the Hep C or the HE, but the fatigue. I got a small yard, and it takes me. I got to take a break to cut the grass. So
Yeah. Your melt score, like you said though, that's one thing I do. We're very fortunate to have a liver, a donor on here, and then somebody who's going to be also a liver recipient in the future, near future, yourself on here also, because liver does not get the recognition like kidney and heart. You're exactly right about that. So I'm in 100% agreement with that, and I'm glad that we can give our audience more information about somebody who's going to receive a liver and someone who's donated a liver, because that's very, very important.
Yeah.
That's very, very important. Another thing I wanted to say is I do understand about your melt being a 10, where it's not the worst, but it's not the best either.
Right.
Now you did mention UW route. How is your friend doing when he went that route? And did he have liver disease also?
Yeah, actually, Lily knows them. Um, yeah,
Bruce and
Bruce.
Shannon. Yeah, he's doing really well. They just
Good.
had a baby,
Good.
so
Good.
yeah, he has fully recovered. And I sat down with him shortly after I donated just to catch up, and he is, he's recovered, and he's got the numbness still, and the fatigue a little still, but he's back to working and like back to doing things, and of course like slowly but surely, but it was cool to see.
Because he was sick.
He was sick. He went from like 0 to, I don't remember what Shannon said, like 38 maybe, and it was a emergency transplant, so he got a deceased.
Right. Was he jaundiced? Did he, eyes and extension in his stomach? And
I didn't see him at the end. We didn't know he was sick. It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't something that that was my knowledge. And we got a text from Shannon that he was going to the hospital, and they were down in Madison, and they needed a transplant. And then the next thing we knew, he had the transplant and was recovering.
The disease you call, I'm gonna call it HE because I can't remember the name also, but yeah. With that disease, have they been studying it? Do you know any information about that disease, where the progression of it, anything?
No, all I know is the basis of it. The liver isn't able to clean out the ammonia in my blood, so the stage 4 cirrhosis, your liver is becoming harder and harder, and like a sponge. So when a sponge gets hard, it can't filter. So when my blood is going through my liver, it's not able to filter. It just gets passed on, the ammonia. And where a healthy liver will absorb that, pass it through, and you naturally get rid of it. Without that ability, I have that medicine, my Roto-Rooter, and it works.
Right. Right. When you're, your kidney patients sometimes on dialysis, we get that ammonia taste in our mouth. Phil, I don't know if you used to get it, but I would get an ammonia taste. Do you sometimes get the taste also from that?
I don't. No, I don't think so.
Okay.
On another note, within the last 2 weeks, my fatigue was getting worse and worse. And they were doing these blood works, and my glucose was crazy. And got back with I've now been diagnosed within the last week and a half of
type 2 diabetes.
Yeah, diabetic.
Okay. Right.
So they got started on some new medicine to help fight that and bring my sugar down. And so there's just another one added to the plate. But I can't say it happens with all cirrhosis patients, but it's common with a lot of cirrhosis patients that it also affects that part of your pancreas, right?
Right.
That does the sugar, and your kidneys. So.
Right. Yeah. Daggone. And I remember you said in that, in my drinking days, I only drank for like 3 years of my life till I found out I had kidney disease. And but I remember a bad headache. A hangover. You said it feels like the worst hangover, and I can only imagine, especially for a long time, because I would be just that next day I would be dying. But you're talking about for a period of, that's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. and the unbalance of everything, and the worst, physical. It's hurting me. It's me. I got it. I own it. But when it affects my mood and my thought, and if I'm saying something, my wife, I'm snapping. That's hard to deal with.
Right.
I don't ever want to be known as a mean person.
Right. And that's a big thing about, like you said, with that's one thing I found out about liver is the size, like you said, because if it was the size, I believe Lily could have gave you hers.
Correct.
And that, unlike a kidney where somebody's just to donate, long as the blood is right, it can go. Where I've seen kidney transplants, a young kid give it to an older person, things like that and stuff like that, where that can happen. But like you said, your situation is a size thing, and that's even, a little bit more challenging because how big are you, sir? May I ask?
I was 250 pounds
Okay.
and 5'11".
Okay.
So I'm on the bigger end of the
Right.
stature of the chest cavity, the body cavity.
Mhm.
My liver is the size of that fits inside my body.
Right.
And for somebody 100 or whatever she is, trying to
Play it safe. Play it safe.
feel
Right.
that, it just can't work. And
Right.
so yeah, size, and then your portal veins,
Mhm.
right? Your portal veins in your liver. There's just a few combinations of how they go through your liver, but they got to match.
Gotcha.
So that they're cutting part of my liver, and the liver that's going in there, those portal veins, you can't take from this side of the liver to this side of the liver and try and make it. So that's another big factor of a living donor. And
Right.
again,
Right.
something I learned with UW, a
Yeah.
fabulous facility.
Great, that's good. I really thought about you. I used to be. Now I build classic cars because I'm a little bit older. But I used to be an avid motorcycle rider. I even drag race bikes at one time and everything. So I was a fool on bikes, young motocross, all those things, man. So I know how it feels when you can't do something you truly, truly like to do, and
Right.
just that ride you did into the city and come back. I know
Yeah,
that was a great feeling at one time. Like, man, you cherish those things. So,
I do. And a couple years back, I bought my wife and my daughter. I bought them both motorcycles, and
oh, nice.
a few times, to be able to ride next to. It's
Yeah,
it's the
that's
memories that keep me happy.
right.
Memories.
Yeah, and another thing, that's one thing I'll say about, I work with a lot of clients, and your mindset is what I call the right mental attitude. And I love that because you talked about turning those bad times around to the good times and just focusing on the good because that's where you are right now. And I remember I had to do the same thing when I was, I waited almost close to 12 years on dialysis, and it's nowhere near what you're doing because we had dialysis. The only challenge was I had to change my mindset also, where I had to be like thankful and gratitude that I did have those good days and
Yeah.
really appreciated those things. And that's what I just wanted to give you kudos for having that great attitude and everything you're going through, Mr. Bob. Just
It, it
thank you for the great
was
attitude.
it was a hard learning process to get there.
I truly believe that.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at my wife and I'm like, I can't waste.
Right.
Nobody's guaranteed tomorrow,
That's true.
and
True.
to sit back and say, if I would have had one, so I do. That's why I
Right. So you just cherish those moments, like you said, and just Hey, I got this. I'm gonna be happy because I don't. I might. We don't have tomorrow. We don't know. We have what we have right now, and that goes for everybody. So that just goes to show, people in all kinds of states right now. But what state you are in, no matter what, you can be happy and you can share your happiness. That's one thing I get from this story right here for
You
sure.
can find gratitude in a lot, and
Yes.
that's what I need, and that's what I focus on is my gratitude, and like this, if I can talk and share, if I can help another addict, whatever, that is irreplaceable feeling inside.
Well, I think your story definitely is helping people because, like I said, I was blown away by Lily's. Then to hear yours, I see where this is coming from, which is pretty
I,
awesome.
my wife and I watched that one and we cried for hours afterward with
Right.
the gratitude and the yeah, we did that, you know.
Yeah, I got off the podcast and told my wife about Lily's story. I was like, you gotta hear this story. This is, that's one that you really gotta tell somebody else about because
Yeah,
it's that one. So,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
Phil, go ahead, man. You know me. I'll ask a million questions. Go ahead, Phil.
Hey man, I told you I'm gonna sit back and listen to him too. Um, so part of the reason why this was is because Mr. Cook is very high on the educational side, information and things of that nature. I'm more of the uh, I guess you could say supportive side. So the one thing that I did take to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Cook said is that I can see where Lily comes from when it comes to her story, and that's just a testament to who you are as a father, who you are as a husband, because that fight that she has in her comes from you. And just like Ms. Cook said, I think I've talked about Lily's story probably every day since we had it, because it's that big and that impactful. And once we got off the call, I'm thinking, I definitely want to get you introduced to some people um, that myself and Mr. Cook knows. One person is Wills Porter, who is a liver recipient,
Yeah.
that is a part of the Why Not Foundation, and me and Mr. Cook both work with, that helps pediatrics pre and post transplant patients. And so Wills was one of the kids that were being mentored by Mr. Cook and Edward Drake until once he got older, he started working with the Why Not Foundation. So he's a great guy. Just graduated with his master's in social work from the University of Georgia. Another person I want to introduce you to is Mr. Hensley. Mr. Hensley is a liver recipient. He was the uh, first liver recipient to be a firefighter. He was already a firefighter before he had his problems. He had a transplant and then went back to work for the fire department. And I think these two guys can give you, even though you don't need it, but a little bit more push that like Mr. Cook said, your mental thinking is in the right place. It's helping you to fight what you're going through, and that's a big thing when it comes to dealing with having needing a transplant. We talked about it when we watched this documentary. Is the mindset, and where you go in these types of situations. So, but I do want to ask you this question to kind of go back a little bit. Um, I don't know if you had this conversation with your doctor, but did they ever tell you that uh, if your Hep C would have been cured before, not before, but a little bit earlier, would it have prevented your sclerosis, or was it something that was just going to happen anyways?
I'm not sure. What they did tell me is if I wouldn't, I'm 29 years clean. If I wouldn't have quit using when I did use, I'd be dead by one of the two. I never would have made it this far. So the 29 years of recovery maybe slowed it way down the process of the disease. They don't know where the Hep C came from. In 81, real quick, I was in a car accident. I had blood transfusions, and back then they didn't screen for Hep C. I don't want to use that's an excuse, because I also was an intravenous drug user. The two places I picked up the Hep C. But like I said prior, in 85, the doctors had already noticed my liver was already going cirrhosis. So did that continue on its own? I don't know. All I know is, and I beat myself up for a long time for that. Where I picked it up, how I picked it up. It doesn't matter. What matters is where I go tomorrow and
Right.
how I deal with what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, I have to definitely give you props for being one of those people who can take ownership in their past. A lot of people, they try to, hide, get around it and try to hold that part of the story. And then some people don't understand that mistakes that we make are big parts of our stories and how we get to where we are at the present time. And so for you to, just stand out and say, hey, yeah, I did it, and it's my fault, it is big and it takes heart, because a lot of people think that they'll get criticized for it, and I'm like, why would you get criticized for taking ownership in something that you did, but you made the change? It's all about it's the after effect that's more than anything. It's about you being able to say, I got to stop. This is for my life, it's for my kids, and for my wife. I need to make an adjustment and a change here, right now, today in my life, for me to be able to live, and taking those good days, ride your motorcycle, go hunting, and that's why we make that adjustment. I, make that same adjustment as well, dealing with kidney disease. Mr. Cook had to make some adjustments, as well. We've all had to do it, but the thing is, some people don't want to make that choice. Some people just like, I like doing XYZ too much, and they don't want to make that chance. I'm like, I'd rather live and be able to go see my godson or my niece or my mom, than sitting have to lay in a hospital for 4 or 5, 6 months, trying to worry about if I'm going to live or not. I'm like, nah, just go ahead and stop. Just keep on going. Like, I had to change my eating habits. I had bad eating habits when I was younger, right? And it was because I was a kid, and as kids we want to eat and do anything we want to do, right? So I was like, at the time, I understood it, that I had kidney failure and everything, and then I was just like, I think it clicked for me at one point, and I said, I have to stop, because I'm gonna look up and I'm not gonna be here anymore. I'm gonna be fighting to still be here. And this is part of the reason why I can 100% understand the relationship that you have with your daughter, because I'm on the other end, right? I'm a kid, but I know my father will do anything in his power for me, right? And so he wants to donate to me, but the size thing comes into effect, right? They told him he had to lose weight, so he's trying to do that, and I every day, I'm like, I have to give really props for not being able to give it to you, but still deciding I'm still going to save somebody's life.
Yeah,
which takes a lot.
That is true.
So, Bob, where's your mindset at right now? I know you're waiting on. Are you on the list? That's what I mean to ask.
Yep, I'm listed. So, like we said, my MELD score is a 10. It can change in a month. It could just crash and I'd be 38, and I would then be the one of the sick assists, and yeah, I'm listed. I'm listed on 2 lists. They separate the cadaver list with I'm not sure the technical end of it, a healthy liver or a chance liver. A chance liver, from what I understand, is somebody that maybe is fighting the disease of addiction, or they died and you are taking a chance with that liver. So they've listed it, they double it. It's a double list, and it was up to, do you want to take? Yeah, I'll take that chance. Uh, who am I to say I don't want your liver? That's stupid crazy to me. That's me. So yeah, but to get the cadaver end of it, like I said, you're the sickest of the sick. And today, I thank God, I'm not.
So Bob, we're gonna definitely need, send us that information, because we want to make sure you can put that in the description. So if anybody wants to try to get tested for you, they have that information as well. Mr. Cook, you got anything?
No, man. Like I said, the story was truly blown away. I love hearing it. I love the Mr. Bob, you being vulnerable, telling us how you really felt about it, and being candid about your past and who you are. And our goal should be to get you on other podcasts, and so other people can hear your story, because I believe the more awareness we get, the more people will look at this and be like, hey, this guy definitely deserves a liver. So
I agree, and with my disease of addiction, real quick, if more people would yell, I'm an addict, there's hope on the other side.
Right.
You don't have to die.
Right.
That's a whole nother story, but
well, I think you're so right, because you're on to something. But I think if more people hear where you're coming from, that they release that anger, and what you went back to earlier was, if we all got along and just started loving more. And sometimes I believe when you start going through these challenges, it takes you back to the love. Like, hold on, man, all this other silliness, this politics, who did this, who did that, get away from that, because when you get down to the nuts and bolts of things, people are dying, and we need to be saving lives, and that's where it goes back to. So we can all have these little hangups about this news person. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Kill all that. Let's get back to the love and start saving people's lives, and just be caring for each other. Okay, that's what we should do.
Spot on.
Yes. Thank you for sharing your show with us and everything. Go ahead, Phil. I don't have anything else to say. I'm already happy with this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bob, Lily, thank you for coming on. Thank you, Lily, for coming on again. You're gonna see Lily again in 3 days, so because she'll be back on for our donor tribute panel on Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. And then we have a great week this week for you on the Second Chance. Mr. Cook will be telling his story tomorrow. Here at 6:30 Eastern time tomorrow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then tomorrow at 12 p.m. we'll also be doing our first show called Let's Talk About It, where we talk about stories and things like that are in the transplant community. If you have something that you want us to talk about, always message one of us on Facebook or Instagram if you have it. Tuesday, I'll be telling my story. Tuesday is also my birthday, so that's why it's kind of special to me. And then also, we got to give a congratulations to Mr. Cook, 15 years post-transplant this past the 19th, which is a big accomplishment of what he's doing in the transplant community, and still living his life and doing great things. And like I said, Wednesday we'll have the donor tribute panel. that is going to be awesome. I mean, it was something that I felt we had to do, being that it's a thankful season. We need to thank people like donors because, like Ms. Cook mentioned before, without donors, you don't have us. We're not here if we don't have the people who have donated, whether it was, when they pass or a living donor. So we need to learn how to thank them more than just, every 2 years at the transplant games, or when somebody says it's my transplant anniversary. Thank these people all the time because they go through a lot. The families of deceased donors go through a lot that they've lost a loved one. So definitely be back with us on Wednesday as well. And that's pretty much it. Again, Lily, Bob, we appreciate you coming on, telling your story. Lily, we'll see you Wednesday, and you guys have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.